today's episode of Allo Lebanon about the economic and political crisis in Lebanon. I'm Vera Obeid and I will be your host today. Today's guests are my friends Sonia and Samar, who came to the decision due to the grave situation in Lebanon to send their kids to study abroad, to leave Lebanon. So Sonia and Samar, can you tell us how did the crisis in Lebanon influence your life?
Sure. Hi, Vera.
Hello, Sonia and Vera. Thank you for having us.
Listen, basically, before the crisis started, I wanted my children to study overseas. I didn't want them to stay in Lebanon. But what happened is that once they were overseas, my issue was with the crisis, with the lack of possibility of transferring money, etc. I had to find another solution in order to send them funds, like to cover to cover their housing fees, to cover tuition.
Can you elaborate a little bit more? Why is it a problem to send money?
Well, because the banks blocked our accounts, our dollar accounts, and so whatever money was on the account wasn't able to be transferred to cover whatever fee that was overseas with the economic crisis and all that. So
And actually, my position initially is the opposite from yours, Sonia. At the beginning, I did not want my kids to go and study abroad. I wanted them to stay here, having studied all my life abroad, being away from family, from my country. I know that sometimes it can get very difficult, and I thought that maybe my kids should start here, especially that I truly believed in the educational system in our universities. We have excellent universities. So I tried to convince them at first to stay here, study, take a BS, a BA, whatever, and then go specialize abroad. But then when the crisis started, I was like projected 20 years, 30 years ago. I was seeing myself again as a teenager, deciding where to go to university and seeing that the situation here was so unstable and unsafe that I had no other option but go study abroad. So it's like history was repeating itself. So I had to change my mind. We had to change our priorities. And after the blast on August 4th of the last year, I didn't even try to convince my number 2 to stay here. The number 1, we were able to convince him. He stayed, studied here at AUB. But for number 2, when he told me the same day in the evening, watching the news, Mom, why do you want me to stay here? Look at the situation. So yes, like Sonia said, bank restrictions, cannot do money transfers. So not knowing whether you can or not send money to your kids, them being alone abroad. So all these questions, but at the same time, when I saw that history was repeating itself, I said, no, I do not want my kids to live that. I want them to live something different, to have more chances, to have a different experience.
You mentioned your trust in Lebanese educational system.
Yeah.
Do you think it changed? It is impacted by the quality of education, by the crisis?
I think it's the means that have changed. When you have an economical crisis like that, when the devaluation of the Lebanese lira, the salaries of the teachers, we had in most universities a lot of foreign teachers, professors, and a lot of them left because universities could not pay them anymore. Then on another level, you have the security issue. Every day, whenever my son had to take the car and go to university, I was okay. Maybe there is a riot on the way, maybe there is somewhere a checkpoint, or maybe at university with all the political influence, with students being extremely into parties, yes, politicized. I didn't want him to live that. I wanted to be just a student. So for me, the profile of the university started changing. I saw it differently. Like, yes, before I had 100% trust, the level, the everything, the ambiance, the entourage. Now, not anymore, not that much.
Me, by that time, my number one was doing an exchange program in France. So he had already left. So we're talking about after the revolution, so October 2019. So by February 2020, he was already in France. So I wasn't facing the same issues as Samar's son. And the girls, the ones who were who were in high school, it was okay. I mean, they were in a safe environment, and I really didn't feel
any fear or threat or danger.
Yeah, exactly. So
any urgency to solve.
No.
When was the exact moment when you said that's it?
For me, it was August 4. Believe me, my number one was already finishing university. He's finished this year. So, okay, we knew that, okay, he had still 1 year to go. It was okay. But when number two finished school, got accepted into AUB, for us, he was going to AUB, khalas, with the banks issues and problems, it's easier, start here, and then you go specialized. August 4, we saw the blast. We saw it from my house. Sonia was at my house. We saw it from the window. We saw what was going on TV. And it was like a shock. And I told my husband, I don't know. I will do whatever it takes. I don't want him to stay here anymore. And when he also expressed this, that why do you want me to stay? Look. I said, khalas, that's it. You have to go.
Initially, my daughter as well, before going overseas, she wanted to stay here in Lebanon. Now, it's not that I don't trust the Lebanese education system. I really like it. It's a very high level of education. The teachers are amazing, but the thing is, we've got a European background, and so for me, she wanted to go into interior design and product design, and interior architecture. So for me, the place to be was in Europe. Yeah. So in any case, I wanted her to go to Europe, but she wanted to stay here to go to a specific school who teaches this domain. But I didn't want her to stay here. And anyway, so she had made her choice. But on August 4th, I was like confirmed 1,000% that, we made the right choice and that, she was supposed to leave.
Yeah.
How about the younger kids?
The younger kids are here. They were shocked. But the thing is, when you have your life here, you can't just pack up and leave unless the country really implodes, like there's a huge tsunami or something. I mean, you can't just, pick up and leave.
So the plan for now is
the plan for now. Yes, the plan for now. So I have 2 remaining children. One who's in junior year, who's finishing junior year. Next year is going to be baccalaureate. And then the little one who's in sixième. So I don't know what that corresponds to. Sixième,
Grade 6.
Grade 6. Okay. So for me, I mean, the system is great here. I mean, I don't know. They have their friends. They have their life here. And with the
I think that the little ones were not as affected as the teenagers and the older children. Like Sonia and I, we have the two, number 1, number 2 are the same age, 21 and then 18. They listen, they follow the news, they talk with their friends, they exchange, they start they're interested about politics. They want to know what's going on.
True.
So I think they get more affected because they're more aware. The younger ones, like I have an 8-year-old, The only thing that bothered her is that she could not go to school to see her friends. But the rest, like, they're not affected by the collapse of the lira. They're not affected by now the situation at the gas stations. They're not.
Protected.
They're protected. They're at home, mom and dad. That's what matters to the little ones. So this also is the difference, that for the little ones, for the time being, they're good, they're safe, they're with us at home. As long as we don't feel that there is direct threat, there is no war or conflict,
True.
we will stay here.
Exactly.
We both have the French passport. We could live today if we want. But we're fine here. Family, friends. But for the older kids who are already in university, definitely let them go and try to start something abroad, have a maybe safer, better future.
What are the biggest challenges of such a decision to send your kids so far away from you?
So I'm more European than my friend Samar.
Yeah.
So I'm like, fly away, kids, go, open your wings. So I don't have an issue. On the contrary, I mean, I've always lived this way, even with my family, my immediate family, my parents, sister and brother. So I never had the issue of being constantly surrounded by family members. So unless it was like I said, my immediate family. So I had to travel left and right to visit cousins and aunts and uncles and whatever. So I really never had that issue. For me, it wasn't a problem to send them overseas. I mean, even if they wanted to go to the States, okay, go to the States. I never thought like, oh my God, it's so far away and I'll never be able to get there to reach them in time in case. Those are questions I've never asked myself.
This is a pun sent.
No, it's not a pun. It's not a
Because
remark
this
for
is
you.
what-
No, this is what I truly think. I mean, this is really me in the way I am. So
I know.
this is very personal. So no, because each one does whatever he wants. Handles their life differently. But because of my background, this is the way I am. So if a child wanted to go to Italy, fine, go to Italy. Now the main issue was that with all this economic
Exactly.
upheaval and the issue with the banks and whatever, and not able to transfer money. Now this was
Definitely. This is it, exactly.
handicapant.
Yes.
Really, I mean, it's a good thing that we have family overseas who can help us, because otherwise, I don't know. I mean,
I
you
agree.
can't.
I agree with you.
can't.
Same for us. Same
No
for
credit
us.
cards.
Exactly.
You always have to carry cash on you. I mean, it's complicated. It's
Even for
really
traveling,
complicated.
Vera, if we want to, when we want to send them, if we want to go with them to buy the tickets now, they're imposing on us to pay French
Cash
money,
dollars, yeah.
cash dollars. So it's not that simple. So
And it's difficult to get the cash dollar.
Exactly. So this is mainly, I
There are no more
think,
dollars on the
it's
market.
really the money issue. It's the problem of not being able to transfer money whenever we want, not knowing if tomorrow I want to go travel visit my son or I want to bring him here to spend
You're
some
dependent
time.
on other people.
We don't know if
You're
we can buy
dependent-
tickets. Yeah, exactly. If you don't have connections or family abroad
Relatives,
who
yeah.
could last minute pay and then, well, you find an agreement with them, then there are a lot of kids who are traveling and who cannot come back that easily because the parents cannot buy the ticket, the return ticket anymore.
And my last question would be regarding your, or maybe your kids, maybe more your kids' relation to this country. Do you think that when they left, that's it? They closed the door behind themselves? They would not be willing to come back, or?
Well, I've got 4 kids, so each kid is very different. My eldest is not very interested in Lebanon. He always wanted to be overseas and in Europe. So now he's currently working in the Emirates. So, and he's ecstatic and he loves it there, and that's the type of life that he wants and whatever. So good for him. My number 2 loves Lebanon. So she doesn't have a problem. I mean, she's sad with the situation and all that, but she's the one who will, I'm sure will be coming back very often. Number 3, not so much. I think she's got her friends here, and if the friends leave, then she'll leave as well. So she's not, it's not
No
the country,
attachment.
no attachment. And the little one who's 12, I don't
Home
know.
is where mama
Yeah, I
is.
think, home is where mama is. So
Yeah.
For now.
for
that's
now,
it.
yeah.
Well,
So,
I
this
can
one
say
is
I think
different.
that your eldest, don't forget, he came to Lebanon.
So
He
he's
was
already 10,
already
yeah.
10 years old.
Yeah.
So my kids they were born here and they grew up here. They went to school, so they have their friends,
Group.
the group
Surrounding,
they're here.
family is here.
And we're very family oriented. So their aunts and uncles, grandma, grandpa. So they will always come back to visit, probably. If their friends are here, they will come to spend holidays with friends and family. But as you said, they're also very different, just the same as your kids. Like my eldest, I don't know. Think he would come back. Number 2, not that sure.
No.
He wanted to go. He's happy where he is, and he wants to go back. He came back for holiday at Christmas. He stayed 4 months because of the lockdown. Everything was online, and in the end, he's the one who said, "I want to go. I cannot take it anymore." So you
very
never know.
different.
We'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
We'll see. The future will tell us. We don't know.
Definitely. Thank you, Sonia and Samar,
You're most welcome.
for your interesting insight into
Thank you, Vera.
parents' life in these days. You are listening to Allo Lebanon, the podcast about Lebanese economic and education crisis. And our next episode would be our final episode with the Red Cross, and its old generation together with the new young generation. This podcast was brought to you by Lynn and Leah Obeid as well.